that progressed into fentanyl. And then I was just drinking on top of it. And I had a doctor that prescribed me fentanyl in Florida. It was just
Welcome to Recovery Inspired Hope, where your testimonies give others courage to speak out about addiction and stomp out stigma. Don't forget to follow and subscribe on everything social, #jamietall. Welcome to Recovery Inspired Hope. I am so excited. I have my friend Brandy from Facebook. She's on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. She's one of my favorite content creators. She has such a beautiful heart and knows how to make people laugh, which is a super gift in itself. So love this lady. I'm so excited to find out about your story, Brandy, and what happened and how you got to this amazing place in your life.
Yes, I'm excited to be here.
So Brandy, tell us a little bit about yourself, like in general.
Okay, I was born in Big Spring, Texas, and lived there for about 7 years, and then we moved to Florida, and so that's where I went to high school and all of those things. So we moved around a lot. My parents weren't military, but we just, for some reason, they like to move. So I moved to North Carolina, and when I was there, I joined the military in 2004. Did that for 6 years and then got out. And because I had a horrible accident with my feet and I had to have multiple surgeries. And so then came my opioid addiction. But after I got out of the military, I got my degree and then I hit rock bottom. So
So what part of the military were you in? That just blew my mind. Like, oh, and you were in the military? Like, you just get cooler every second. I know you.
Thank you. Yeah, I was in the Navy. And funny part about that is I was military police. So I know it was something that I never, ever wanted to do. Of course, it's a little different in the military, but the first couple years that I did police work, and it was just like, what am I doing here? But it's, it's where God wanted me. So
that's freaking awesome. That is so cool. Military police. Wow. Did you have anything like that you had to do there that just like was like super dangerous or anything?
Well, yeah, I was in with military police. I went into anti-terrorism and force protection. So I did a lot of security operations that were very high risk, very low profile type of stuff. And so it was definitely an interesting experience.
Wow, that is super cool. I'm stuck on the show right now, Designated Survivor. Have you seen that show with Kiefer Sutherland? So I'm like, you said military police. I was like, what?
It was really cool because my first duty station was in Naples, Italy. And so,
wow,
I know it was incredible. It was an incredible experience.
That is awesome. So, okay, what area do you live in now?
I'm in Tahlequah, Oklahoma. It's about an hour and 20 minutes outside of Tulsa. And I moved here about 4 years ago after I got out of rehab.
So when did your recovery journey start?
My recovery journey started originally in 2018. I went to treatment, and I would get out of treatment and I just didn't know how to live. So I went back several times, which is okay. It takes what it takes. And when I got out of treatment, I just knew I had to leave my people, places, and things. Florida was just as you can imagine, a cesspool of drugs, and I knew where to get them. So I decided to move to Oklahoma, closer to my parents, and it's been the best move I've ever made in my life.
Awesome. Yeah, I can definitely relate to what you're saying about, going in and out of treatment. I think I went to detox like 8 different times. And like every time I would go, for a week or 2 weeks, sometimes 4 weeks. And I would get out and I would be like, yay, now I can do drugs like everybody else. Like just smoke meth like all the regular people, right?
Crazy how we get those concepts that we can do these things when we have a few days clean. It's like,
yeah,
I'm grateful to know today that that's not the truth.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. The day that I finally figured out, oh, you mean if I don't put in, I won't get addicted? That's just
Eureka!
mind blowing. Oh my goodness. Like, why didn't I realize that sooner?
This disease is tricky.
It sure is. It sure is. So you moved around a lot. I moved around a lot too. I went to 12 different schools by the time I graduated high school. So totally relate. Trying to fit in, trying to find your place it's hard, man, when you have to move around all the time. So were you like a good student? Did you have like any difficulties in school?
I was a good student up until I dropped out in high school. I got A's and B's. My only problem was that I was one of those kids on the report card that says Brandy talks too much, and she likes to annoy other classmates. And so that was really all but as far as book wise and stuff, I was smart.
That's so you dropped out of high school. So what happened?
Well, I was in with a group of girls that I finally got to fit in with, and that fell out, and they all turned their back on me, and whatever the situation was, I was just done. And I told my mom, I can't do this anymore. And I had gone like 6 weeks without going to school, so of course my grades dropped and everything. And so my mom was like, okay, if I sign you out, will you get your GED? And I said, yes, I will do that. I think I was 16 when we did that. And that's what I did. But I just could not, by that time I was already dabbling and, smoking weed and stuff like that. But nothing hard up until later. But it was definitely the beginning of the downfall.
So you said you got into some hard stuff later. So was that before or after you got into the military?
Oh, wait, before. Before the military was a small break in my drug activity. But I started going to Rave when I was 15, 16. And it sucked me in. I loved the life. I loved the exclusivity, the music and all of that. And so I just dove head first into that whole scene.
Yes. And I used to have the Jenko jeans and the glow sticks. I did the massage trains, and it's crazy because that's my job today. I own a massage therapy company. And
that's awesome.
Even when I was, 18 to 21, I'm at the raves. Like Bad Boy Bill was like my favorite techno artist. And yes. And, they're with the Jenko jeans and the glow sticks doing the massage trains on people. Like, yeah, that was a
big vapor rub and all the stuff.
Oh yes.
Oh God.
It was crazy. It was like a secret life. Like I felt like the whole scene was it was insane. So yeah, you must have definitely, I know I got into some pretty crazy drugs when I was going, besides just ecstasy. Was that your experience as well?
Oh yeah, ecstasy, got into ketamine, GHB, and we would steal nitrous tanks from the dentist's office and do that. Yeah. And so it was pretty crazy. It was wild. And so I got a break when I joined the military. I decided that I was gonna act right for a little while.
Right. So from rave queen to military police.
I don't know. It's crazy. We moved to North Carolina, and I started working at an assisted living facility, and I wasn't getting any benefits, and I was staying clean. I mean, I was smoking weed, but that wasn't a big deal to me at the time. And but I was trying to get on my feet, and I just couldn't. And so I decided that maybe the military could help me get my benefits and stuff like that.
So you joined the military, you're in Italy, everything is wonderful. Like, what happened?
Well, I really got into, I drank really, really hard in the military. Of course, that's what everybody does. It's everywhere. And that was the only thing I could do. And, but I met my ex-husband in the military, and he was quite a bit older than me. We got married, and when I got hurt, he was there taking care of me, and I got really addicted to pain pills. And that progressed into fentanyl. And then I was just drinking on top of it. And I had a doctor that prescribed me fentanyl in Florida. It was just, today that blows my mind, but it is what it is. But yeah, it got really ugly there. He was very abusive. And so I just stuffed all those feelings and covered it up the best way I knew how to.
Wow. So what was the doctor prescribing you fentanyl for?
So I have a back injury, a neck injury, and then my feet. And so it progressed. It was over time. They started me off on Lortab and then Percocet and oxycodone and then all these things. And then fentanyl came on the market. I don't know if he had a connection with it or whatever, but he was like, there's this new drug. Would you like to try it? It's a patch. You don't have to take pills or anything like that. And I was like, sure. I had no idea how strong fentanyl was at the time. And so today I look back on that and I'm like, what was he thinking? Of course, you can't do that today, but this was back in 2010. And so, and then of course I didn't use them like I was supposed to. I didn't put them on my body.
Okay. Gotcha. Did you put them in your cheek? I know people used to like cut them and yeah.
I would cut them up and chew on them, chew on little strips of them. And then I realized that I could actually smoke them in some tin foil and get really messed up that way. And so that was the end of the road right there.
So like, how did it happen? What happened that you got into this like journey of recovery?
Well, I got a DUI and went to jail and got bonded out and kept just getting sicker and sicker. And so one day I decided that I didn't want to live anymore. And so I cut my wrist the right way, and I was about a millimeter away from one of the main arteries in my arm. I mean, it was just a hair away. And so when I got to the hospital, I had my doctor at the time, she was in recovery. And so she just decided to share some of her story with me. And that was my first glimmer of hope, because I could relate to her. I'd never been able to relate to somebody like that. And she had so much compassion and understanding. And she said, would you try to go to treatment for me today? And I said, yes, I will. I'll do it again. And so that's where we took off.
Wow. It sounds like a divine intervention to me. That is
very
amazing.
much so. I thank God every day for the ER doctor.
Yeah. So you decided to go into treatment, and was that the last time you went?
That was the last time I went. I knew that time I was ready. I had run out of running room, and I had survived the suicide attempt. So I thought, well, maybe God does have something for me. And so I did. I went into treatment, and I didn't stay totally clean. There was some anti-anxiety medications and stuff I was taking when I got out. And so it took me about a year to get rid of everything. And so my actual clean date is December 15th of 2019, but I went to treatment in 2018.
Okay. So, what was your like pathway? Did you do like meetings? Were you like a 12-step or? Yeah.
Yeah. When I got to treatment, they had an H&I come in, and it was NA at the time. And so I started going to those meetings and found out I could get a sponsor. I didn't know. I was like, why didn't I know these things before? But I'm so grateful because for that H&I panel that came in that day and told us that, you know, there's a program out there that will help you. So I worked the 12 steps, I got a sponsor, all of the things, and I still go to meetings almost every day.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That was my foundation. I was a 12-step baby. And I said the same thing. I was like, why did I not know about this? Like, I never knew like that there was a recovery and people and a community, and like, why didn't I know? And that's why today I'm so adamant about, you know, speaking out and letting people know that there is a community for people who, want to get well, whatever that looks like. Now,
whatever that looks like.
Right, exactly. And today I love how there's so many different pathways now, right? Like you don't have to, if 12 step doesn't work for you, you can do something else. I just heard about something that is big in our community here called Recovery Dharma, which I never even knew. It's like a spirituality like thing. And I was just like, wow, it's something new, you know what I mean? That somebody else can get saved from. So that just blew my mind. They're always coming up with like new ways to maintain sobriety and new programs. And I think that that's awesome. So do you have any crazy stories, Brandy, for us?
Let's see. Well, I brought up the nitrous tank thing, and I thought that was pretty funny because a bunch of ravers in Jinko jeans and fluorescent whatever we were wearing, and at 3:00 in the morning we're in the back of a truck stealing nitrous tanks from a dentist office, and then it was probably a 6-foot tank, and so we hauled that thing in my friend's house, but I think we stayed in that house for about 4 or 5 days with that thing. It was insane.
Wow.
My friend, I just remember my friend going up to the thing and she's, I don't know, it was a bunch of crazy. And then let me see if I have any other really crazy stuff. See, the last part of my addiction I was married. And so I was in a home and very isolated on my own. So I wasn't out and about a lot. The crazy stories are pretty much what I did my own. I would, my ex-husband would find me outside talking to trees. Like that's how messed up I was. It was just, it's crazy to think about that because I don't even know who that person is today. Like, absolutely. This is such a lifetime ago.
Yes, it seriously is. Yeah, I'm on Wednesday is my 7 years. And I'm just like, man, like thinking about, like 7 years ago, like when I was homeless, I was like, like this guy let me like hide in his attic, like, so I wouldn't have to sleep outside. You know what I'm saying? Like that is insane. Like that's just insane. Oh my goodness. And like, why was I even hiding in that guy's attic? Like, what is it? Like just the things that we think of, like, what was I doing? That's just nuts. But yeah, it feels like that person wasn't even me. So what is your life like today?
Wow. It's better than I ever imagined it could be. I know that. I didn't know that this life was possible. Well, I have my own apartment now. I've had that going on 4 years. I've paid rent on time every month. That's just wow. I haven't got my electric cut off. And to normal people, those things aren't, whatever, you being responsible. But for us, those are a big deal. I just remember those milestones. And so, because when I showed up here, I had a tub full of clothes and my dogs. And so it's crazy. So I go to meetings, and I'm retired now from the military because of my injury. So I don't necessarily have to work a normal job, which gives me a lot of opportunity to be a benefit to the recovery community here. And I sponsor quite a few women, and they just keep me in line. I don't know what I do for them, but no. But yeah, I'm reunited with my family after years and years and years. And craziest part is I have a clean bill of health. Like all of my blood work is good. God has just restored my body in such an amazing way. That even my mental health is so much better than it used to be. I never knew I could not have panic attacks every day, or that kind of thing. And man, it's just such a more peaceful life today. I'm really grateful.
That's awesome. Yeah, I completely understand. They had me, I think they diagnosed me bipolar manic 1, and
Mhm.
definitely like used to hear voices and thought like there were so many conspiracies. Like I just did a video like talking about like my first like AA meeting, you know what I mean? And it was supposed to be like kind of like a joke, but those crazy things that I was saying were really things I thought. Like I really thought like that when I went to like my first meeting that like nobody there was really sober. Like I thought my parents had like paid these people to like try to like, it
I
was
have those.
yeah, it's like this isn't even real. Like these are all just paid actors and none of this is real. It's crazy like that I thought those things, and it just blows my mind that today I can be normal and healthy and hold a conversation and go outside and meet people, and look people in the eye and all of those things. Like it was such a big deal for me. Like back then I couldn't, I was like one of those
Oh,
where
yeah.
I didn't really talk much and I stared out the window, like, so
Mhm.
people see me today and they're like, wow, that's crazy. So I definitely get it with like the mental health and the anxiety for sure. Do you have any advice that you would give or a word of encouragement that you would give to any ladies who might be watching this today?
Oh man, I just know for an addict like me, I if I can recover, you can recover too. And it doesn't matter what pathway that is. I am one of those advocates for whatever pathway works for you. I'm all for it. Um, and to reach out, and if you need help, reach out. Message somebody, get some help, because we're here, and that's what we're why we do these things, why we talk about these things, is so people can know that that there is hope.
Yes, yes, yes. There is hope. Thank you so much,
Mhm.
Brandy. Thank you for joining us. I am going to put the link for where you can for with her name, where you can find her and everything. It'll be in the beginning of the video. So make sure you follow Brandy. She has some amazing, amazing content there, sharing her experience, strength, and hope. And thank you for joining us on Recovery Inspired Hope. Make sure you subscribe to Jamie Tall on YouTube, and we will see you next time.